I remember that day vividly, the day my cousin Jess laughed at my dress. As I stood by the front door, adjusting the hem of my vintage find, I felt a rush of excitement surge through me. The fabric had a soft, worn texture that reminded me of summers spent thrifting with my mom. I had picked it up at an estate sale, its colors blooming like the wildflowers I adored. It was my secret treasure, and I was ready to show it off at the family gathering. When I stepped into the living room, I spotted Jess right away, her gorgeous designer outfit clinging perfectly to her body like a second skin. Her confident demeanor rang like a bell, but as her eyes caught mine, her smile twisted into an unmistakable smirk. "What a unique choice," she said, her perfectly manicured hand gesturing dismissively at my dress. A wave of embarrassment flushed my cheeks, but I straightened my shoulders, determined not to let her jab ruin my night. I could feel a tight knot forming in my stomach, but I brushed off her remarks, focusing instead on the lively chatter of family around me. As the evening progressed, I couldn't ignore the strange glances exchanged between Jess and her husband, Mark. Their looks held a weight that seemed to press down on me, almost suffocating. The clinking of glasses and laughter faded into a dull hum in my ears. I was focused on the nuances, a slight turn of Jess's head, the way Mark's brow furrowed as he glanced at me. Then, just as I was about to grab another slice of Aunt Martha's famous apple pie, Mark approached me. His demeanor had shifted, a tension wrapping around his words like thick fog. "That dress, it looks familiar," he said slowly, his eyes searching mine as if they were trying to solve a riddle. I felt my heart race, the implications of his words sending a chill down my spine. Before I could respond, Jess's laughter rang out from across the room, a sound that once filled me with warmth but now seemed sharp and dissonant. What did Mark mean? He can't be suggesting what I thought he was. As the air thickened with unspoken secrets and tension, Mark stepped closer. "Were you at that estate sale on Maple Street last month?" Because before he could finish, the air in the room shifted. My mind raced through possibilities, and I barely heard Jess's voice cutting through my thoughts. "Mark, stop. This is ridiculous." The look on her face was a mix of disbelief and unease. The truth struck us all like a bolt of lightning when Mark finally revealed he had bought the same vintage dress, intending to surprise Jess for her upcoming birthday. My heart sank as I processed the cascading layers of irony. Jess's laughter faltered, and I could see the realization dawning on her face. It was a moment of vulnerability, one that stripped both of us of our defenses. The night had shifted. We weren't just cousins anymore, but two women caught in a web of competing insecurities. Now that's a story worth sharing, but what do you think happened next? Before it unfolds, a quick alert for you who follow our stories. YouTube has been removing subscriptions lately, so check if you're still subscribed, and leave your like to support the channel. Now, back to the crucial moment. As the initial shock hung in the air, Jess's eyes began to dart around the room as if seeking an escape. "Are you serious? You bought that dress?" she exclaimed, her voice laced with disbelief and a hint of panic. I could see her mind racing, grappling with the whirlwind of emotions that I too felt churning inside me. Mark's expression softened, and he stepped closer to her, trying to reassure her. "I thought it would be a beautiful surprise. I had no idea you'd already seen it." His voice trailed off, leaving an awkward silence that felt as thick as the fabric of my dress. I stood there, my heart pounding, caught in the eye of the emotional storm swirling between them. At that moment, I realized the richness of this predicament. Somehow, a simple vintage dress had become a vessel of our insecurities and misunderstandings. For Jess, who had always been the one in the spotlight, the thought of her husband unknowingly purchasing the same outfit made the ground feel unsteady. And for me, a validation that I'd craved now felt like a double-edged sword. "I can't believe this." Jess turned away, her laughter from earlier now a ghostly memory. "You couldn't have at least kept it to yourself. I mean, how could you wear something I was meant to have?" She cast a pointed glance at Mark, as if urging him to find an escape route from the tension building between us. I felt a wave of sympathy wash over me, yet an indignant fire ignited inside me. This wasn't intentional. "Jess, I found it first, and it's not my fault that you both were looking for the same thing." My voice quivered, but I stood my ground, unwilling to allow her to belittle my pride for wearing something I loved. And then, as if shaken from a spell, Jess's expression shifted. There was understanding there, a crack in the armor that had kept us at odds for so long. "I guess I just thought you'd have better taste than this," she said quietly, her eyes narrowing as if she was trying to reassess the situation. Mark took a step back, his hand resting on Jess's shoulder. "Let's just breathe for a second. This is only a dress, right? What's important is that we're here together." His calming presence served as a reminder of the love that should have bound us. But things felt fragile now, much like my delicate dress that had brought us to this point. "Maybe we need to address why we both wanted it in the first place," I suggested cautiously. The realization washed over me that this dress was more than just fabric. It was a representation of who we were, maybe who we wished to be. As we stood there, an unspoken agreement loomed. Jess's laughter may have initially pierced through my confidence, but now we were confronted with our truths. Behind the laughter was a longing for approval, for validation from those we loved the most. Meanwhile, the clinking of glasses and laughter bubbled back to life around us. My heart raced as I pondered the next step. Would we find common ground? Would Jess truly see me? Just then, as I leaned towards Jess, a playful smile creeping in, a sudden voice broke through the crowd, asking for a toast. "To family and surprises." Jess raised her glass, and I followed suit, the tension hanging still in the air as if waiting for another bombshell to drop. What if there was more to uncover? Curiosity nipped at my heels, begging the question of who else might have something to say about the night, or surprises waiting to unfold. But for now, we clinked our glasses, and a fragile truce settled upon us, leaving the audience craving what lay ahead. Be sure to stick around, because the next chapter will unveil further secrets that might just redefine everything we thought we knew about ourselves. Don't miss it. As the glasses clinked and laughter echoed around us, I caught a glimpse of Jess's face, now softened with a hint of acceptance. It was almost surreal how quickly the atmosphere had shifted. The earlier tension had dissolved into something more profound and understanding. Yet, beneath the surface, I could feel the question lingering in the air. Could we really mend what had been torn apart? Maybe we should start fresh, I suggested gently, though doubt crept in. Could we really walk back to the way things were? Jess remained silent for a moment, her gaze flickering to Mark, who was now watching us with an expectant look. "Sure, let's start over," she finally said, though the hesitation in her voice was palpable. "But how do we go from here?" Mark, sensing the moment's fragile vulnerability, stepped in. "What if we share more about ourselves? This night has shown us that we've each been clinging to different insecurities. It's time to let them go." His words hung between us, holding a mirror to our souls, inviting us to look deeper. As the evening continued, I couldn't ignore the fire of curiosity burning within me. What did Jess see in me? What did I see in her? I glanced around the room as Mark engaged the family in a light-hearted story, his laughter infectious. Suddenly, I had an idea. "Jess," I said, leaning closer, "why don't we find a way to create our own unique styles together?" Her brow raised, the corners of her mouth twitching into a smile. "Are you suggesting a thrift challenge?" I nodded excitedly. "Let's hunt for dresses at local estate sales and share styling tips. We can make a day out of it, just like the times I used to spend with Mom." At this, Jess's eyes sparkled with interest. "I like that. We could even film it, make a little YouTube series. What do you think?" The suggestion caught me off guard, a collaboration between us. But deep down, it felt like the right step forward. "Let's do it," I replied, heart racing with both excitement and apprehension. Before we could discuss the details further, Jess's phone buzzed loudly on the table, breaking the newfound harmony. She glanced down, her expression shifting dramatically. "Oh no," she murmured, her eyes widening. "It's my sister. She's at the thrift shop on 5th Street, and she just found an incredible vintage piece. She's about to grab it." My heart raced. The thought of another potential wardrobe clash was both thrilling and nerve-wracking. What if we ran over to see it? I suggested, caught up in the rush of the evening. Mark raised an eyebrow, intrigued by our sudden shift in energy. Why not? Let's make it a spontaneous adventure. Mark chimed in, mirroring my excitement. I could feel Jess's competitive spirit rising. Let's go. But just so you know, I'm totally going to win this. She shot back, playfully nudging my shoulder. As we piled into Mark's car, laughter bubbled between us, almost as if we had weathered a storm and emerged with a newfound bond. But as we drove towards 5th Street, my mind spun with possibilities. Was this truly the beginning of a collaborative chapter for us, or just another volatile round in the game of family rivalry? The wind rushed through the open windows as we sped down the street, anticipation buzzing in the air. Little did we know that this trip wouldn't just be about fashion. It would lead us into deeper revelations and tougher conversations than we ever expected. As Jess and I exchanged excited glances, I couldn't help but wonder what else the night held. Would this be a turning point in our relationship? What challenges lay ahead as we navigated not just dress shopping, but the much larger task of understanding one another? Don't go anywhere. The next chapter is packed with twists that will shake the very foundation of what we thought family bonds were made of. You won't want to miss it. The ride to 5th Street felt electric, the breeze whipping through the car as laughter flowed freely between Jess, Mark, and me. It was like a dam had burst, flooding our collective insecurities, surprises, and the weight of past judgments. I sat in the back, giddy with a bizarre mix of excitement and trepidation. The thought of uncovering treasures at a thrift shop had always been thrilling for me, but this time it felt like we were unearthing more than just clothes. We were tearing down walls we had unknowingly built between us. What vintage gem is your sister about to snag? I asked, trying to keep the conversation light. Jess's smile faltered momentarily before she responded, almost sheepishly. Honestly, probably something stunning. She's got an eye for the quirky stuff. Mark chuckled as he took a turn. It must run in the family. Then, he quipped, glancing at Jess in the rearview mirror. Both of you and your flair for the unique. Jess shot back, oh please, it's all about the right pieces. Unlike that dress you wore for the family gathering. She raised an eyebrow, her playful competitiveness returning. I couldn't suppress my laughter. Hey, I still stand by my choice. That dress was my lucky charm. As we pulled up to the thrift store, vibrant signs, advertising deals, and unique finds flanked the entrance. The smell of old wood mingled with a hint of lavender from a nearby flower shop, pulling at my memories from childhood thrift hunts. I'd lost count of how many floral dresses my mom and I had explored together. Ready? Mark asked, smiling like a kid about to embark on a grand adventure. The moment was palpable. Jess and I exchanged determined looks. Ready, we echoed in unison, and together, we stepped out of the vehicle into the bustling afternoon. Inside, the store was a treasure trove, aisles packed with colorful clothing, quirky decor, and vintage accessories. I could already feel the adrenaline pumping through me. My eyes swept over piles of fabric, each piece brimming with history, stories clamoring to be told. Keep your eyes peeled, I advised Jess as she meandered down the dress aisle. Everything felt fresh and revitalizing, where the competition between us transformed from hostility to friendly rivalry. We'll need to separate and cover more ground, right? Jess suggested, eagerness lighting up her features. It's like a scavenger hunt. Absolutely. Let's meet back here in 30 minutes to see who found the best score, I declared, rallying our spirits. Jess nodded, her competitive edge kicking in, while Mark flashed us a reassuring smile before wandering into the accessories section. May the best woman win, Jess exclaimed as we drifted apart, both of us diving headfirst into the ocean of vibrant fabrics and unexplored treasures. As I browsed through racks filled with dresses and blouses, a sense of purpose overcame me. Each find wasn't merely about wearability. It represented something deeper. The thrill of finding something unique mirrored our own individuality beneath the surface. I held up a 70s maxi dress, its earth-toned petals softly dancing against one another. A nostalgia washed over me as I traced the fabric between my fingers. I could envision myself wearing it, swaying gently under the sun, a compliment drawing from the whimsy of a perfect summer day. And yet, as joyous as the moment felt, a thought gnawed at the edges of my mind. What could Jess be finding right now? Would it continue to fuel her competitive spirit, or could it bridge a newfound connection between us? Time seemed to escape me as I turned each corner, every section revealing a hidden gem. Suddenly, my phone buzzed in my pocket, pulling me back to reality. Jess's face appeared on the screen, her eyes wide with excitement. "Hey, you won't believe what I found," she exclaimed, her voice almost drowned out by the store's background noise. "What is it?" I asked, trying to contain my own enthusiasm. "There's this incredible bright red vintage coat that's still in pristine condition. It's as if it's calling my name. You need to come see it." My heart leaped at the thought. "That sounds amazing. I'll be over in a second." I hurried through the maze of clothes, brimming with excitement to support her in this hunt. When I arrived at the coat section, I spotted Jess standing proudly beside the rack, a vibrant crimson coat flowing like a regal cape around her. "It's beautiful," I gasped, genuine admiration bubbling forth. "You have to try it on." As she slipped it on, the color illuminated her features, a stark contrast to the earlier tension. Jess twirled in front of the mirror, her earlier persona shining bright. "What do you think?" "It looks like it was made for you. It's stunning." I beamed, feeling a comforting warmth wash over our growing camaraderie. Suddenly, I caught Mark's reflection in the background, a satisfied grin plastered on his face as he approached with an array of accessories. I couldn't resist. "Thought this might elevate your find." He held up a vintage hat that perfectly matched Jess's coat. "Oh my gosh, yes," Jess enthused, her face aglow with joy. Mark carefully placed the hat upon her head, the full ensemble pulling her together in a powerful, almost regal way. Stepping away from the mirror, Jess admired herself. Seeing her so happy struck a chord within me, one that resonated with the deeper meaning of this day. "You look truly amazing, Jess, like a fashion icon." Her eyes softened, surprised by my sincerity. "Thank you. I wasn't sure if you'd be supportive or competitive." "Well, I guess I'd like to think we can do both." I smiled, and Jess laughed, a refreshing sound that felt like a release. "I'm proud of you for wearing what you love. It takes courage," she replied, her eyes locking onto mine. In that moment, it felt like we were experiencing something transformative together, rising above the past petty jabs. "Let's check in with Mark to see what he's found," I suggested, feeling a momentum shift. Had we broken any barriers? Was this just the first step towards sisterhood? As we approached Mark, he grinned broadly, showing off his collection of chic accessories: a dazzling belt, a pair of oversized vintage sunglasses, and a delicate scarf that seemed to whisper stories from another time. "I think this can be your signature look, Jess," he said, presenting the sunglasses like a magician revealing his greatest trick. "Wow, you've got a knack for this," Jess chuckled, her positivity flowing through the air. "Family thrift cope, anyone. Turns out we're a pretty good team," I grinned. The camaraderie felt invigorating, weaving our individual stories into a collaboration. As we bonded over trials and tribulations of thrift hunting, another wave enveloped the room. The excitement wasn't just about our finds. It was the realization that we were uncovering our own layers beneath the vibrant closed layers of vulnerability, laughter, and companionship. "What's next? Should we do a fashion show with our finds?" Jess suggested, the thrill evident in her voice. "Oh, I like the sound of that. How about we wear our favorite pieces to the family dinner tomorrow night?" I proposed, the prospect igniting our imaginations. Mark chuckled, a devilish sparkle in his eyes. I can only imagine the looks on everyone's faces. The night danced onward with vibrant colors and a tapestry of laughter. In that moment, everything felt right. Our earlier grievances morphed into laughter, curiosity, and an adventure shared between us. Yet, as I looked at Jess, I still sensed an unspoken layer beneath our celebration, A mystery still lingered just outside our grasp. What else lay hidden, waiting to erupt in tomorrow's family dinner? Just as that thought sank in, I felt a cold shiver down my spine. Jess's sister, the one who had been tracking her down, might not be happy with our newfound bond and synergy. As the door of opportunities opened, a whirlwind of questions loomed in the air. What would happen with her sister? Would this moment hold its integrity when faced with outside influences? The thrill of the uncertain glimmers and the dawn of possible drama. Maybe it was far from over, and just as curiosity pulled me in, I felt an insatiable desire to continue this journey with Jess. Stay tuned, we're just getting started, and trust me, the next chapter might just unravel more than you could anticipate. What happens at the family dinner could change everything once again. As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden hue over the remnants of our thrift store adventure, I felt an unshakable sense of anticipation. Tomorrow would mark a new chapter for Jess and me, and I was ready to embrace it, despite the whirlwind that loomed just around the corner. That night, I tossed and turned in bed, thoughts of tomorrow filling my mind. I envisioned us strutting into the family gathering, each of us embracing our unique finds with courage and confidence. Would our relatives see the transformation in us? More importantly, would Jess's sister, who was known for her protective instincts, accept our newfound bond? Morning arrived, bringing the scent of fresh pancakes wafting through the house. As I joined Jess and Mark in the dining room, a familiar buzz of excitement danced in the air. Jess wore the vibrant red coat we had found together, and its lively color made her shine brighter than ever. I sported my own eclectic thrifted number, a vintage floral dress that felt like a piece of history. To say I felt empowered was an understatement. Wow, you both look incredible. Mark beamed as he poured syrup over his pancakes, his enthusiasm palpable. Thanks. Are you ready for this? Jess asked, adjusting her hat with a mix of nervousness and excitement. We had agreed to take turns presenting our outfits at the gathering, showcasing our style choices with flair, hoping it would encourage authenticity and connection among family members. As we walked toward the gathering, an electric tension hung in the air. Laughter and chatter greeted us at the door, and with each step, I could feel a mix of nerves and excitement. It was time to face our family. Walking into the living room, I noted the palpable silence that enveloped us. Eyes turned and whispered conversations rustled like autumn leaves. Then, Jess broke the tension. Surprise, she announced with a dazzling smile, her voice lighting up the room. Everyone erupted into applause, and surprisingly, I felt the weight of judgment lift. The warmth of acceptance washed over us as family members complimented our outfits, their eyes glimmering with admiration rather than skepticism. Then it happened. Jess's sister, Sarah, arrived. The moment she caught sight of us, her eyes widened. "What are you two wearing?" she asked. A mixture of disbelief and confusion etched across her face. My heart raced. Here it was, the moment of truth. "Just a little thrift adventure we went on together," Jess said, her voice steady, though I could see the tension underlying her words. "Together." Sarah echoed, her expression softening just a fraction, but still holding that protective edge. "No hard feelings, Sarah," I chimed in, feeling the need to bridge the gap. "We've found common ground." Jess stepped forward, visibly resolute. "We're not rivals, but allies now. Fashion can be fun when shared." As the air hung thick with uncertainty, I held my breath, wondering if this would lead to acceptance or spiraling drama. Slowly, Sarah's demeanor shifted. "You both look great," she said, her voice melting into warmth. "I guess there's something to be said for sharing and celebrating individuality." In that moment, I felt a wave of relief wash over me. The transformation, once riddled with insecurity, now glistened with a sense of connection and shared triumph. Dinner unfolded with laughter, storytelling, and plenty of teasing. Tension was nowhere to be found. Jess and I stole glances across the table, smiles spreading wide as we basked in the glow of acceptance. Our family was beautiful, flawed, and perfectly imperfect. As the night drew to a close, Jess and I stood side by side, heads held high, embracing the journey that had brought us here. We had turned a moment of ridicule into an opportunity for vulnerability, trust, and evolving relationships. Looking around the room, I felt a surge of gratitude. Life's unexpected twists had brought us closer, teaching us just how crucial it is to cherish one another. I realized that my vintage dress had become more than just a piece of clothing. It symbolized the strength in our vulnerability and the beauty in partnership. Before the gathering ended, I looked directly at the camera, pulling our viewers in. Thank you for joining us on this wild ride from laughter to lessons. If you enjoyed our journey and want to hear more stories like this one, be sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Let's keep the stories of growth and connection alive together. Who knows what adventures await us next? With smiles and newfound bonds all around, I felt ready for whatever came next, my heart full and my spirit soaring. Together, Jess and I had transformed not only our relationship, but had woven a new narrative for ourselves all, thanks to a simple vintage dress and a dash of vulnerability.